The breathtaking beauty of Kashmir conceals a harsher truth.
अगर हम बयान सच बोलेगा तो पुलिस पकड़ के लेके जाए,
मुंह से कुछ निकलेगा तो शाम को उसको ले जाएंगे।
जो सच बोलता है उसको पकड़ के लेके जाए।
मीडिया तो सारा फेक बता रहा है।
डर का माहौल है, सब डर का माहौल है।
The joke in Srinagar is that there is freedom of expression in Kashmir, but there is no freedom after expression.
A Kashmiri, he doesn't speak out his mind. The fear factor is at work.
Is it silence or survival? Because people are silent because they want to survive.
Reporting on the ground has been criminalized in a way.
After the abrogation of Article 370, things have changed. Everything has changed. So everybody is trying to build here in Kashmir the narrative of the government of India.
वो तो बादशाह है, उनके साथ क्या करें? I cannot speak against the बादशाह. Can anybody say? बादशाह को तो सलूट करना है ना.
For the past 5 days, we've been speaking to people in and around Srinagar, and a common theme emerged: a sense of suffocation. Many here believe that speaking too much, or speaking too freely, or even just speaking up what's in their mind can come with a heavy cost.
Actually, our media here is banned, so that's the problem.
सब मीडिया चोर है।
If we say something different, we will get arrested.
यहाँ के जर्नलिस्ट इतने सारे बंद हैं।
One of the reasons people feel that they can't speak freely is because they've seen what's happened to the press in Kashmir. Journalists are supposed to be fearless, they're supposed to be questioning those in power, and they are protected by the Constitution of India. But when those protections start to fade away, a chilling effect takes hold. The impact is felt beyond newsrooms. An average Kashmiri feels that if journalists can be arrested under harsh terror laws, if journalists can be locked away for years under the Public Safety Act, what chance do they have?
और मुझे भरोसा है कि कुछ ही दिनों में हम हंसता डोलता खेलता कश्मीर देखेंगे।
Since the abrogation of 370, Kashmir is rife with stories of journalists jailed under terror law, interrogated for their reporting, and pressured to reveal their sources. Passports have been impounded. There's the case of Sajad Gul, Masarat Zara. Then there's the case of Basharat Masood of the Indian Express, Hakim Irfan of the Economic Times. Both of them was asked to reveal sources. There have been raids on Greater Kashmir owner, arrest of Kashmir Wala, the case of Sana Mattu. Journalists put on no-fly lists, the media shackled. And then slowly, local newspapers that reflected the pulse of people's concerns buckled.
पहले कितना सेल होता था और अब कितना होता है?
पहले 100% सेल होता है, इस वक्त कुछ नहीं होता।
तो कोई नहीं खरीदता है अखबार?
कोई नहीं, जिनकी आप नोटिस वोटिस होती है वही खरीदते हैं।
आपको लगता है आपके मुद्दे उठते हैं अखबारों में?
नहीं, बिल्कुल भी नहीं। वो आम बातें कर रहे होते हैं। आज मौसम बड़ा अच्छा है, आज इतने लोगों ने वहाँ पे विजिटर गए हुए थे, आज यहाँ पे इतने लोग आ गए, उन्होंने चक्कर किया, वो सैर के वो वापस चले गए, ये वाला फ्रूट चल रहा है, वो वाले बाग खुल गए हैं, इतने लोग मारे गए, इतना एक्सीडेंट हो गया, आज स्कूल खुल गए, स्कूल बंद हो गए, बस इसी के बारे में लिखते हैं। जो मेन मुद्दा है वो भूल जाते हैं।
क्या चाहती हैं आपके अखबारों में क्या बातें हों?
जो इस वक्त माहौल है, जो बच्चे चाह रहे हैं कि हमें नौकरियां मिले, भाई हम पढ़े लिखे हैं, हमारा बिजनेस आगे चले, हमारे बच्चे आगे बढ़े, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट ख़त्म हो, इसके बारे में वो लिखते नहीं है, डर डर के जी रहे हैं। उसकी वजह से आवाम की भी ज़बान बंद है, वो भी डर रहे हैं, कहते जब मीडिया आवाज़ नहीं उठाता तो हम कहाँ आवाज़ उठाएंगे।
अपना जो लोकल मीडिया है वो है ही नहीं। न्यूज़पेपर्स देख लो आप या ऐसे न्यूज़ चैनल्स, कहीं कुछ है ही नहीं, मतलब कोई बात ही नहीं है।
We spoke to Anis Zargar. He's an independent journalist in Kashmir. He's worked with the Times of India, NewsClick, and he's even written stories for News Laundry.
You see, journalism has never been easy in Kashmir, and it was not easy in the past 30 years. It was not easy in 90s. Later on, it became a little more difficult. Now, though, the situation, if we talk to a lot of journalists here, they say it's unprecedented. Even those who have been reporting during the 90s also. There are in the last 5 years we've seen raids happening on the homes of journalists. There have been people who have been summoned to the police station. They have been asked questions regarding their reporting. Where they've been asked questions to sometimes to even reveal their sources. Say, for example, somebody who a version of the parents or relatives or friends from somebody who has been arrested, who has been killed in crossfire or in an encounter, their versions is also being criminalized. So basically, reporting on the ground has been criminalized in a way.
The Public Safety Act came into force in 1978 and allows the government to detain a person for up to 2 years without any trial. The act has been used as a counter-insurgency measure. Anyone suspected of being an insurgent or being involved in militant activities can be slapped with PSA. Both Mehbooba Mufti and Abdullah governments have faced accusations of abusing the law. Since 2019, PSA usage has surged 7-fold, according to some accounts.
Public Safety Act has been termed controversial by a lot of rights groups, even within India and also outside. But when they are booked under Public Safety Act, it gives an entirely different, it brings an entirely different kind of storm in his life. And the thing is that there is no redressal system. There is no platform where you can put yourself or explain your position. That kind of space has been limited to a great extent in the last 5-6 years.
What's worrying is the random pattern of arrests under PSA.
Majid Hydari understand that.
Take the case of Majid Hydari. He's known as a TV news panelist, known to be a bit of a loudmouth talking head on shouty news debates.
Majid Hydari, does the truth cinch you?
Hydari was arrested under PSA in 2023.
Majid Hydari has been in jail under Public Safety Act. I'm very confused why he was arrested, because he used to go on Arnab's show, he used to go on mainstream shows. He never did any very big investigative report. He was just a talking head mostly.
Yes,
and he never said anything very anti-India.
Nothing.
So why is he in jail?
Because Majid has his own, हर एक इंसान में होते हैं problems भी, मतलब weaknesses होती है ना. He is a very emotional kind of a journalist, ठीक है? Emotions में वो करता बेचारा, he was doing for the good of the society overall, whatever he did. मगर उसमें उसने थोड़ा सा लाइन क्रॉस करके गया. He just pinpointed a particular person कि उसने उसको ड्रैग कर दिया when he was not involved in that game, जो जिस गेम पे वो लिखता था. तो उसको that was not kind of anti-national होना उसका.
The mere suggestion that laws meant to counter insurgency are being used to settle personal scores and silence journalists should ring alarm bells. Even the Jammu and Kashmir High Court said that detaining critics of the government is an abuse of the preventive law. Meanwhile, the impact of such arrests is visible in the newspapers of Kashmir today that resemble mere pamphlets.
Now we decided to take a look at some of the newspapers, and if you see here, most front page stories are about what Prime Minister Modi said. Here, terrorism is taking last breath in J&K. PM Modi's address election rally in Doda today. And mostly they are talking about what the Prime Minister has said or what the Home Minister has said. So if you see Rising Kashmir, it's saying that, again, the Prime Minister said the J&K election is a battle between dynastic parties and the youth. In any newspaper, this is the most important news of the day. And here it says that fight between 3 dynastic parties, youth of J&K. That's what PM Modi said. So the same headlines here too. So we're just reading Rising Kashmir, which is one of the most prominent newspapers of Kashmir. Its editor, owner Sujat Bukhari, was killed in broad daylight in 2018, and the government had said that it was Lashkar-e-Toiba that was behind his murder. In any newspaper, the editorial is the voice of the newspaper. So what you read here is usually what the newspaper's voice is. And the editorial today is about Prime Minister Narendra Modi's speech. It says that Prime Minister Narendra Modi lambasted the political families in Jammu and Kashmir by launching a scathing attack on the opposition parties for destroying the peace. So the entire editorial is about Narendra Modi's speech. So it's a bit like primetime news sometimes in mainstream Delhi news channels. When Prime Minister Modi says something from 8 to 9 p.m, you'll mostly hear about what he said, how he attacked the opposition. There's another piece that says leader of opposition versus leader of propaganda. So they're lambasting Rahul Gandhi for being a leader of propaganda. Says that for all political purposes, the position of the leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha has been devalued. And if you look at Greater Kashmir's paper today, notice there are no ads because silent period is going on. So we had some ads from previous newspapers that talked about Article 370. This is a BJP ad. The ad is about what if Article 370 returns, says the symbol of the tricolour will be altered, there will be cries and tears once again, sounds of bomb blasts will echo all around. Front page headlines is about the LG greeting
ahead of the Eid-e-Milad, the Home Minister's campaign in Jammu region. Remember that these are local newspapers. So when you have a paper published from Kashmir, I'm not saying that this will not be news, but it would ideally be a column news that he's going to be here. When we've been traveling around Kashmir for almost 4 or 5 days now, unemployment is a huge issue, drug addiction is a huge issue, and the third thing is that people talk to us again and again about Public Safety Act and young people being jailed. So that is a huge issue, but front page, that is not the news here. So I can't read Urdu, but somebody who does, help me just look at the paper a little bit. This is Kashmir Times. It's one of the prominent Urdu dailies here. Front page is just bites and stories about politicians and what they're saying. This is a cartoon which shows Engineer Rashid and Jamaat-e-Islami cooking something together. What is striking about the newspaper is that it's mostly the headlines have to do with what politicians here have said. There's very little on what the people here are saying. Are they going to participate in this election or not? Because there's been a history of boycott of elections here. What do they think of the number of parties that have jumped in this election? What do they think about Article 370, most importantly? When you go anywhere in Kashmir, people are very vocal about the fact that they're upset with the removal of Article 370. Now, whether you agree with that position or not, it's not reflected in the newspaper.
In conflict zones, controlling the press becomes a battleground, with the government, armed forces, and agencies all vying to shape the narrative. Truth often becomes a casualty. Senior journalist Saeed Malik notes that press freedom has always been fragile in Kashmir.
So this Kashmir was born in abnormal circumstances. So it's a strange child. It's a normal child है नहीं. इसके features different है, इसका conduct different है, इसका behavior different है. इसको समझने में बहुत देर लगती है. That's why when people came from outside, they also didn't understand. And when they understood, they thought that no, it is not to be interpreted in this way because it doesn't serve the quote-unquote national interest.
During the height of militancy, newspapers often published what militants dictated, driven by fear of the gun. There's also murmurs of Pakistan's ISI funneling money into Kashmiri media landscape to influence the narrative.
You see, militants were no good, as bad. Militants would make you write what they wanted to write. At that time, press was on. If you see, it had almost gone outlandish. It was militancy. There's no doubt. Press, because again, fear factor, gun, real threat. They kill journalists. They kidnap them. They harass them. They kill their relations. I mean, I have lost my relations.
The Indian government today may claim success in silencing any pro-militancy voices in newspapers in Kashmir, but in the process, they appear to have stifled genuine journalism, leaving little room for real news to thrive.
I have also always tried to build a narrative of the government of India here in Kashmir when nobody was daring to take forward the narrative of the government of India. But after the abrogation of article, all things have been changed. First, nobody was writing in the newspaper like militants, and it was a taboo. And now the people have started, after the abrogation, people have started to write terrorist in place of militant was replaced by the terrorist. And there are a lot of newspapers were carried the news regarding the separatism. Even I was also carrying the news, but after the abrogation of Article 370, things have changed. Everything has changed. So everybody is trying to build here in Kashmir the narrative of the government of India.
Because you are also dependent on government advertising, do you think you can if there's a corruption or a scam in the government, can you talk about it? Can you write about it? Can you investigate it?
See, ma'am, so this is between the government and the bureaucrats. We don't have any such a knowledge because some people are telling there is a corruption, but we don't have faced such a thing, and we don't receive any complaint regarding that. Corruption के बारे में हम लिख सकते हैं, लेकिन ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है. We are trying to read right because we people are meant to do this job, to carry forward any news to common masses, but we don't have received any such a complaint where we have been able to publish in the paper. But people are saying there is a corruption, maybe हो सकता है, लेकिन हमारे पास इस किस्म का कुछ नहीं आया.
Nothing symbolizes the state of press freedom of Kashmir better than this police station that once used to be the Press Club of Kashmir. The takeover by the police happened in 2022, and Salim Pandit back then was accused of helping the police take over. This is a charge that Salim categorically denies.
There was an allegation against you on Press Club कि आपने coup organize करा along with your bodyguards and you were instrumental in banning
Me? मैं तो सीधा गया था. It was not. देखिए, security यहाँ सब जर्नलिस्टों को है. By the way, every journalist has a security here. It is not only me. I am being covered by the security.
Not everyone.
Everyone.
Many journalists I met don't have
No,
security.
बताओ किसका?
Many of them. I've
बताइए
met
ना.
reporters who
सबको
work
है,
in mainstream
सबको है.
organizations. Do you think it's a problem for Kashmiri journalists when they get called BJP agents or
अरे,
stooges
come
of
on,
the
यार,
BJP?
it's really a stigma here.
हाँ.
Being a BJP man or a BJP agent means it's a stigma. देखिए, otherwise also there is presidential rule this time here in J&K. उसमें तो curtailments होगी. Curtailment तो है because of the rule. It's a central rule here. उससे पहले भी होता था. Again I will just refer. एक ज़माने में मेरे खिलाफ भी महबूबा ने FIR कर दिया on a story about the stone pelting on the tourists.
You have a lot of anger against the previous governments.
All. They are all traitors. ये सब ट्रेटर है.
And what about the BJP?
मैंने तो पहले ही बोला. मैं को वो तो किंग्स themselves है भाई. वो तो बादशाह है. उनके साथ क्या करें? I cannot speak against the बादशाह. Can anybody say? बादशाह को तो सलूट करना है ना. When you say anything, that will lead to sedition. If you say anything against Modi ji or Amit ji.
But you can say things about Umar Abdullah and
Umar Abdullah is nobody, na.
The media in Kashmir reflects the struggles of everyday people, stuck between forces they can't control.
Stone pelting, tear gas या pelt victims. तो मुझसे मैं आई एम नॉट दैट पर्सन कि ये सारी चीज़ें देख के फिर मैं बोलूँ कि कश्मीर में डेवलपमेंट है क्योंकि आप एक म्यूज़िक फेस्टिवल करा रहे हो या आपने कोई लेज़र शो लगाया है तो वो डेवलपमेंट मेरे लिए नहीं है. क्योंकि ये जो आप जहलम देख रहे हैं यहाँ पे हर दिन ऑलमोस्ट मुझे लगता है महीने में 3-4 बच्चे यहाँ पे सुसाइड कर रहे हैं. अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट बहुत ज़्यादा है. ड्रग्स यहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा है. मुझे ये बात समझ नहीं आ रही है. जैसे कश्मीर जो है हाईली मिलिटराइज्ड जोन है. आप कहीं भी जाओ यहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा मिलिट्री है. बॉर्डर्स पे प्रोटेक्शन के लिए मिलिट्री है. आई हैव नो आइडिया कि ये ड्रग्स कहाँ से आ रहे हो और इन बच्चों के पास ड्रग्स कहाँ से आ रहे हैं जो ये यूज़ कर रहे हैं और उसके बाद डिप्रेशन में जा रहे हैं.
Reporting on victims of the conflict often gets you branded anti-national today, but it goes deeper than that. Even speaking out against the administration is risky. While the rest of India is relatively free to criticize the Modi government or any other state government on issues like unemployment or drug addiction, in Kashmir, going against the government narrative can quickly lead to accusations of being a separatist.
Since the abrogation of the Article 370, the Modi government has delivered violence-free streets in Srinagar and relative peace in Kashmir. But the question is, what comes after this peace? And how much of a stake will the average Kashmiri have in it? Can a Kashmiri feel like they have ownership over their own narrative? Or will they continue to feel alienated by the rest of the country? Most importantly, what role can the media play in removing these feelings of alienation? The press in Delhi and the press in Kashmir. How can they ensure that the average Kashmiri feels heard?
The question should be, is it silence or survival? Because people are silent because they want to survive. It's like that. People don't want to get into the trouble. हमने कुछ कह दिया and then उसका जो इम्पैक्ट होगा उसको वो हमारी फैमिली को भी फेस करना पड़ेगा. इस वजह से पीपल आर लाइक यू स्पेशली यंग पर्सन्स दे आर लाइक चुप ही रहते हैं वही काफ़ी है. बट इट वाज द ड्यूटी ऑफ मीडिया टू शो व्हाट इज़ राइट एंड व्हाट इज़ ट्रूथ बट दे फेल. जो भी न्यूज़ चैनल्स वगैरह हैं दे शुड कम हेयर, ग्राउंड रिपोर्टिंग करें, यहाँ पे देखें कि असली मुद्दे क्या हैं. वहाँ पे बैठ के बातें करने से कुछ नहीं होता और वहाँ पे नज़र भी नहीं आएगा कि यहाँ क्या हो रहा है और यहाँ एक्चुअल में क्या इश्यूज़ हैं. तो सिर्फ सिक्योरिटी वाले इशू को हमेशा हाईलाइट नहीं करना चाहिए. यहाँ पे लोग हैं, ह्यूमंस हैं, रह रहे हैं. इवन अब तो इलेक्शंस भी हो रहे हैं, लोग इतना पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं वोट्स में ये वो. तो उस हिसाब से कश्मीर का जो इशू है ये बात होनी चाहिए इस पे। ड्रग्स है, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट है, मेंटल हेल्थ के क्राइसिस हैं यहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा, तो इन पे बात होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि जब तक इंडियन मीडिया इस पे बात नहीं करेगी, ग्राउंड पे इसका कोई भी इम्पैक्ट नहीं होगा, कुछ भी ठीक नहीं होगा।
As we bring you this report from Kashmir, journalist Irfan Mehraj remains jailed on terrorism charges in New Delhi. He's known for his award-winning documentary on Kashmir's heroin crisis, and he's accused of working with activist Khurram Parvez, who's also facing terror funding charges. Irfan's childhood friend believes the charges won't stick, but under UAP, the process is the punishment. The many cases against rights activists and journalists have to be proven in the Indian court of law. But the more immediate concern is this constant test of nationalism poses a challenge for any journalist in the valley who wants to hold power to account, or quite simply has questions for those in power.
The primary purpose of a journalist is to tell the people about a person, an event, or an idea, or especially about the governments. The idea is to bring to be pro accountability. When you target journalism, when you target journalism in the first place, you're not targeting journalism only. You're targeting the institution of bringing accountability in the rest of the institutions that operate in a democracy. Say, for example, in India, when you target journalists, you're also targeting his right to question the authorities or the events or the incidents or the ideas which can go against people, which are not in favor of people, which are not in favor of public, which are not in public interest. So that is what is happening in Kashmir also. So which is why people here do not want to talk to journalists also. They do not share their own experiences the way they used to share earlier. They do not because they think that it has no impact anymore. Earlier, what used to happen was that if a story would come out, there was a principle of how this government would take action. For example, in case of a corruption, they would take action and bring accountability on the person who is involved in that incident. That impact has been removed. It does not happen anymore. There have been cases, of course, in this way, which is why people also have lost interest in talking to journalists, talking to media, or believing media in the first place.
That was our report on the state of press freedom in Kashmir. I hope you liked it. Stay tuned for more reports coming in from Jammu and Haryana. And please remember to support News Laundry. Pay to keep news free. Now more than ever, it's important that you support independent sources of journalism, independent media, so that we're not at the mercy of any government or large corporations. We're able to do everything that we do at News Laundry because you guys support us. You guys believe in us. So please log on to newslaundry.com, subscribe to News Laundry so we can continue to do what we do best. Think journalism, think News Laundry.
This election season, your right to choose puts you at the heart of it again.
We'd like to be your eyes and ears. Choose the journalism and media that serves democracy and you.
Simply head on to newslaundry.com/subscription and pick up the TNMNL joint subscription of your choice today.